Hey guys, remember comics? Someday they will return, but I always talk about like the old Chinese comics, the old Japanese comics, the old anime. Was a big influence on my creative comics, I guess, art style. But I always the golden age stuff too. I mean, not just the horror stuff, of course. It needs no introduction, but even like the old superhero stuff and the different genres they had, the different the war comics. As much as how I look at that period of time now, American golden age comics, and then even into the 50s, there was a craziness and there was a wackiness in them that is kind of it has a place. You'd say it's definitely up there with even the craziest of the Japanese stuff, in my opinion. Uh, Done in a far different America, but it's interesting. There's a reprint, a facsimile edition, so they reprinted everything, even the cool stuff that a go-getter, a kid would want to work for. Right, this is where uh, you would earn points and doing something, selling some kind of thing to get these cool things. Telescope, air gun, guitar, film projector. But it's not really. Only in the back they have more advertisements for like cool stuff. We'll go into that later. But the actual comic, these were like the DC heroes that were not Batman and Superman, and they sort of formed them into a group, the Justice Society of America. Right? And we have here, of course, printed here is produced at a time when racism played a large role in society and popular culture, both consciously and unconsciously. Yeah, yeah. Cause today it doesn't. You're getting rid of a whole demographic of people. Anyway, let me show up. And it's funny too. There's a lot of tongue in cheek stuff. There's a lot of wackiness in it. Okay, it's not so serious. Okay, this is 1940, right? So it's before the war. Always the war. So you don't have any Nazis. You don't have any Japs in it. You have gangsters and thugs. Like hey Mac. Like Bugs Bunny gangsters in there. And it's funny too because they break the fourth wall, as they say, a lot. They like he's like yeah, oh the guys invite me to this thing, Johnny Thunder, right? But he's looking at comics of these guys. It's funny too. I remember him. Didn't he have like if you remember JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, he had like a stand and like that was made out of electricity that would help him. But apparently, originally, anything he wished for would come true if he said this magic word, which he always would say by accident. So it was kind of like a comedic thing. And he meets all the heroes. But I'm not getting into the story as much as you look at the layouts, very basic, not a lot of backgrounds. Okay, there's something here for me to gauge too. One of the problems I've had with my comics, amongst other things in life, is that I just kept drawing and I had an idea what I wanted for the story, but I wasn't strict with the script. Well, the editor wouldn't stand for that. All these arcs, these story arcs, they're no more than 12 pages and oftentimes less. Now, yes, composition wise, it's not very interesting. There's no backgrounds, there's tons of word balloons. Okay, but you got the story across. Okay, um, it's just something that when I got this for a number of reasons, just to look at how they would go, and then you see the different art styles. Whoever this artist was really good. I mean, this style here is a little more like it's like the kind of art you would see like in Weird Tales, of course. The pulps, tales, and comics. The comics came out of those. So literally, the same publishers started making them. Of course, that's the original Hawkman, not the alien Hawkman. Remember all these Golden Age heroes in the Silver Age in the 50s and 60s. They changed them, okay, uh, into different heroes. But the original Hawkman was like an archaeologist who had all these ancient civilizational weapons that he would use. So it's a very like John Carter type thing. You got like fighting lava men or whatever, fire ghosts. Right? Really cool. Oh, is that the racism there? Well, actually, no. That's he's one of the firemen. Maybe the racism was this. Oh, this never happens. It's only a fantasy that happens. Boom, yeah, spoke out of turn a little, didn't you? Bam, right. Well, it's ironic at the end of the story that character sort of is redeemed somewhat, but you know, this is interesting too. This panel layout. I noticed they did this where they would put these gaps in, and then put text in the gaps. I've never seen that before. That's interesting. Of course, this is the Spectre, right? Now later on in the Silver Age, the Spectre becomes a real. I mean, he kills people, the evildoers, in a very ironic way. But here he's sort of like, you know, just another mystery man, as they say. Right? Hour Man. Remember Hour Man? He creates a pill that gives him a power for 60 minutes. Right? He used to have the hourglass on his thing, and you get the great dialogue. You know what the boss said about bringing women. Ditch it before we start to work, right? So you get all the villains are almost all these gangsters. Okay? An interesting thing too is the cops, right? This is before, like I said, after World War II, we worshipped the police, right? But before World War II, Americans didn't like cops, and realistically, the cops would always go after these costume crime fighters, and the costume crime fighters would kick their asses. I like that. You know, of course, the criminals and the villains were the main enemies, but the cops would get in the way. They didn't like, you know. This is funny too. The Red Tornado is this is interesting from the context of today. This is basically a woman pretending to be a man with a pot on her head. The Red Tornado. Of course, the Red Tornado becomes he was like an android or something in the Silver Age, but and it's like they pretend that he's a guy, but they all know it's a woman. It's like old Miss Uncle, you know. Yeah. The tomboyish woman was the butt of the joke. Oh. So here's all the comics, right? Adventure comics, fun comics, all American comics, Flash comics, All Star comics. Of course, you know, the Superman and Batman were much bigger characters, but Sandman, the original Sandman, once again, get him up or we shoot. Yeah, you think so? Bah, he starts going at the cops. I like that. So, and this is Batman helping I always hate that Batman helps the Gotham Police Department and Commissioner Gordon. I always hated that. They would go after him anyways. Dr. Fate. Now, this is cool. I had no youth. The Elder Gods created me. So this is 3 years after Lovecraft passed away. But you know that a lot of these guys have probably read his stories in the Weird Tales. He doesn't have a claim yet, but you know there's definitely this influence here. And man, the panel layout is pretty uniform. It's just 8 boxes and a thing and a page. But it's talking about getting a lot of stuff in, and you got this woman getting into trouble. They all get into trouble, and you got zombie warriors. You have things like this entity from the seabeds of the Nile. Oh, very Lovecraftian. So, and funny too, a lot of these old comics, they always have like a story that's written down. It's like, I don't want to read, I want to look at pictures. But the All-American Flying Club. Hey, we're going to take you college boys and we're going to send you over bombing missions over a country with no fighter escort. And you're going to have very high casualty. Anyway. So now the Atom. Remember, the Atom was like a short guy. He was sort of a brawler. He didn't have any powers. I know he gets powers later, but Al Pratt. Hey, Half Pint Pratt. Let's have fun with him, right? The big jocks are picking on this little short dude. And there's this girl he likes, but she doesn't think much of him. But she loves the Atom. So it's kind of, the alter ego thing is always funny. And he actually has a mask where you wouldn't recognize him. And I like the two. And you got the gang. You got the ethnic gangsters. They're not all Italians. Back to just say, yeah, I like soldiers out of the monkey suits. Like this. Gosh, there must be $1 million in this haul. More than that, Mike. This will be the biggest haul in history. Some brain the boss has, eh? like the old Bugs Bunny gangsters, the old mooks. And this seems funny too with the lingo of the 40s. In the 40s now, you start to see that. I personally like I don't like the 1940s. I know you can imagine one of the reasons, but even like the women in the 30s, the women are still a little bit of makeup. They're still kind of natural. Now the hairdressers really start going after the women's hair, right? And this is funny too. You don't seem to like this Al Pratt very much. What's the matter with him? And you hear the lingo like, he's all right. He's such a weak sister at times. He gets in my hair, right? Look out, sister. The old lingo of the 40s. This was funny. Of course, at one point, the FBI. Look, it's the chief of the FBI. He wants to know if a representative of the Justice Society can come down and discuss something of vital importance. FBI. And they were more upright back then, which wasn't saying much. Anyway, of course now, and this is what I suspect part of the reason why they reprinted this is because there's a whole big thing now with DC Comics. Apparently, Alan Scott, the original Green Lantern, is gay now. Right? The special story that nobody's buying, which was funny because I remember when this happened years ago. The New 52, which I liked. A lot of people say, "Oh, the New 52 sucked." I liked the New 52. Right? They had the Justice Society comic, and that New 52 was actually an alternate Earth, right? Where it was taking place in modern times, and the Alan Scott of that world was gay. It was, remember, they made a huge deal about it, right? Well, apparently now, retroactively now, this Alan Scott is gay, right? Which is funny because remember back in the day, one of his son was gay. Everything's gay, right? But I always thought the Green Lantern, the original one, was an interesting character, and my oldest friend explained to me the connection between the later Green Lanterns. This was this Green Lantern is of course a mystical item in this story, but later on as retconned, it was the Green Lantern Corps. This was like a prototype that accidentally fell to Earth, and he found it and used the powers, just naturally without being trained. Like that. Of course, it's the will to power, because the whole thing with the ring is the will. Anyway, but he's vulnerable to wood, remember? Sure thing, boss. Bah! Yeah. So anyway, fun, crazy, colorful, right? They break the fourth wall a bit, right? Boys and girls, before I leave the rest, read the announcement on the editor's next page. Right? And of course, they're announcing, the Justice Society, whatever, the FBI in Washington. Okay, there's something big brewing, right? What's brewing? Okay, he's one swell guy. That's swell. He's swell. Remember, he used to say, "Oh, that's swell." Remember? I remember that when no one said it anymore because people my generation, we watched the old cartoons and movies like everyone else did. Okay, nobody could watch a movie that's older than 20 years now, it seems. But I like that. I wonder what we're gonna learn in Washington. Something big's about to break. Yeah, something big's about to break. We need to get into the war in Europe. We need to figure out a way to get into war with Germany, but they're not playing ball, so we're gonna. Let me shut up. Speaking of the war, it's funny looking at these toy airplanes, model airplanes, the old motors. Steuben Street, Brooklyn, downtown. I just thought I'll end with this. The Junker Stuka dive bomber. Everybody has read of the remarkable performance and deadly accuracy of the Stuka in Poland, Norway, and France. From all available sources, Stuka has compiled the data to develop this ace. Not just another model airplane, it actually drops a nest of dive bombs in flight. What could be more realistic? Oh, that would be awesome to use that. But anyway, fun looking at the old America later.